Thank you for joining me for this month's virtual Curators Tour. I'm Britt Mitchell, Associate Curator of Exhibitions at the Fort Wayne Museum of Art, and I will be your tour guide. Today, we will be exploring Diverse Directions, Rethinking the Landscape. Landscape is a commonplace word and principal artistic genre. Landscape art is associated with physical descriptions of color, light, shadow, atmosphere, and form. In Diverse Directions, we explore its various meanings through the work of 9 Indiana artists: Aaron S. Coleman, Sayaka Ganz, Jon Hook, Katrina Mitten, Osamu James Nakagawa, Ahmed Ozsever, Andrea Peterson, Betsy Stirratt, and Cara Lee Wade. Their interest and approach to the subject range dramatically, interpreting the landscape as wildlife and ecosystems, geology and geography, natural resources and property, and culturally and socially meaningful places. These artists examine the complexity of who or what shapes our environment through the lens of the natural world. This exhibition was curated by Sachi Yanari Rizzo, curator of Prints and Drawings, and is supported by the Edward D. and Ione Auer Foundation. As we walk into the gallery, to our left we are met with Ahmed Ozsever's work. Ozsever is an interdisciplinary artist and assistant professor at Indiana University Bloomington. He approaches the landscape by examining different time registers, the surface or daily time versus deep time or geologic time. For shallow cores, the artist studied geologic core samples of subsurface materials that were gathered from specific locations around Indiana, wherein he also collected trash left by humans from the site. Along with the core samples, he casts the debris into the form conceptually representing our human presence. Along the wall, he juxtaposes the cores with photographs from public access archival materials and aerial views from drone footage he shot from the same coordinates. Directly behind Ozsever's work, on the back of the movable wall in the center of the gallery, we are met with Katrina Mitten's work. In June 2024, the Department of Interior and the Bureau of Indian Affairs approved trust status, giving full jurisdiction for the Miamiaki's 45 acres of land in Kikiongi, or Fort Wayne, 178 years after their forced removal. In Land Back, indigenous plants replace the invasives, and returning cranes overlay the revised Indiana Treaties map, marking a culturally important return of their homeland. Katrina Mitten comments, "We, as Miami people, cannot be without our connection to the land." On the same wall, Mitten's work, Appropriation, speaks more on her native history. In her drawings, Katrina Mitten references Miami history, which is closely related to the land both culturally and politically. In Appropriation, cranes migrate westward and invasive plants flourish. The map is from an Atlas of Indiana and shows the succession of lands ceded in the U.S. treaties from 1783 to 1840, leading to the forced removal of indigenous communities from the region. This history is especially close to Mitten, who is a citizen of the Miami tribe of Oklahoma, a sovereign nation, and descendant of many notable local historical figures, including Tecumseh, Michiganaqua, or Chief Little Turtle, Peshewa, or John Baptiste Richardville, and Chief Francis LaFontaine, the principal chief of the unified Miami people. To the left of Katrina Mitten is an eye-catching work by Sayaka Ganz, When the Ice is Gone, and the preparatory sketch for When the Ice is Gone. Sayaka Ganz is best known for her recycled sculptures, in which she reuses throwaway materials, largely plastics, and weaves them together into a new form. When the Ice is Gone is an abstract depiction of a polar bear resting on a slowly melting ice cap situated against a blue Arctic sea. While repurposing is an environmental conservation strategy, Ganz's choice of material in When the Ice is Gone is bittersweet, as plastic is a major environmental problem in its manufacture and disposal. When asked to discuss nature and the environment, Ganz considers animals foremost, as she explains the landscape is unthinkable without them. In the preliminary sketch for When the Ice is Gone, the abstracted polar bear is more legible in the preliminary sketch than it is in the sculpture, creating an interesting juxtaposition between the beginning product and the end product. Both in the sculpture and the preliminary sketch, The animal, water, ice, and space become one, an eloquent metaphor for the interconnectedness in nature. On the back wall of the gallery hang portraits by photographer Osamu James Nakagawa. Nakagawa photographs the trees found at War Relocation Authority camps, or WRA camps, around the country where thousands of Japanese Americans were forcibly incarcerated during World War II. The Witness Tree series takes its name from a term referring to a tree that witnesses important events in historical landscapes. Witness trees are often found on battlefields, but can also be other historically important trees. Coming back to the U.S. post-World War II, he did not share the same experiences as many other Japanese Americans. Motivated by the social unrest in the wake of George Floyd's death and the perpetuating racism in America following the coronavirus, Nakagawa sought to explore his identity. Manzanar 1, Manzanar, California, from Witness Trees, is what we focus on today. Manzanar, California is the best known of the Japanese American incarceration campsites through Ansel Adams's work and Dorothea Lange's photographs, as well as Gene Wakatsuki Houston's book Farewell to Manzanar. The mountain range in the background seems timeless, and the foreground bears little resemblance to the wartime encampment. In 1992, the U.S. National Park Service designated Manzanar a National Historic Site, cementing its significance in our American history. Thank you so much for joining me for this month's Curators Tour. If you would like to explore diverse directions rethinking the landscape in person, please visit us before the exhibition closes on December 8th.